Star Trek Titan, anyone?
Unknown anomaly. There's been nothing like it ever reported by Starfleet.
The Raffi storyline is starting to work, and playing off Worf really enhances it. Worf's badass persona is on full display, and the episode comes alive as a result. There are direct links and connective tissue between the stories on Metallis Prime and the Titan, as both involve the changeling. Raffi comes into her own, and the chamomile tea adds to the episode's appeal, especially as that's a wonderful moment for Worf to have. The episode was written by someone who truly understands the character, and the writer's affinity for Worf is evident. The character is calm as much as he is fiery, and the beheading of the Ferengi is a fitting display of his prowess. There is a sense that something big is coming, which gives credence to a current event. The stories are tight and to the point within episode to episode, with the characters in this particular instance meeting and becoming partners by end. The pacing is good, and the episode has a pulpy sci-fi feel with action set pieces integrated into the main characters and their reflections and emotional states. There is criticism on Metallis Prime that it is too much of a Blade Runner-esque type planet, and the chase scenes themselves did lack intensity, despite some of the humour that Worf gave within those scenes. The changeling threat is a prominent aspect of the show, and Worf serves as an excellent conduit between Odo and the storyline. The conspiratorial aspects of the changelings are explored. Newer Trek shows have utilised the Zat Vash and the Vulcan terrorists with varying degrees of success. I do, however, feel the changeling threat will work. The after effects of the changing threat after Deep Space Nine linger, with some of them remaining dissatisfied and fractured, causing the great link to be broken. The conspiratorial elements of the story add to the intrigue and suspense of the plot. A scene takes place in sickbay where Beverly and Jack's story unfolds as an energy surge occurs. It's become clear that Jack is protective of his mother, and Beverly is able to use their experience as a teacher to help those around her. She stresses the importance that knowing isn't everything. Experience is really a vital part of also being a doctor, and the good interplay between the doctors in the sickbay there actually do work really well. If you're liking what you're seeing so far, by all means give me a like and subscribe. Shaw is a fascinating character who has proven to be an adept problem solver and a value addition to this new crew of Star Trek Picard. His antagonism is still the highlight, but this moment highlights that he is methodical and in not any way a captain who doesn't know what he is doing. In a heartwarming scene between Seven and Laforge, we see that there are some great moments, and Laforge has some great empathy with Seven. The family dynamic of the show is really starting to shine through this season, and Laforge's desire not to follow in Geordie's footsteps is a poignant moment that allows the audience to take a breather as the other things are happening around this episode. This moment is likely to come into play in later episodes and add depth to Laforge's character. Jack's overprotection of his mother is evident to his pacing, especially while talking to Riker. Riker has observed the behaviour of Picard and Beverly Crusher over the years and intimates that to Jack, and the show explores the idea that everyone is fallible and that we are all just human. Jonathan Frakes is quickly becoming the MVP of the show as he portrays a range of emotions and shades of his character brilliantly. In another scene, Riker becomes protective when the positronic comment is made by Jack, similar to Shaw's earlier comments that threw shade on Picard's time as the Cutis. This adds depth to the characters and adds an overall tension of the show. It is clear that a lot of time and energy has been put into the look and feel of Star Trek Picard, and it's an interesting development that Seven and Jack team up to deal with the saboteur on board the ship. This adds suspense of the show and highlights the need for cooperation between the characters. Overall, the bridge serves as a central location for the story, and the attention to detail in the show's production is apparent. Additionally, the partnership between Seven and Jack adds to the complexity of the plot. The scene that everyone will be talking about will be that of Picard and Beverly. There's a crucial line in this scene where Beverly says, "I knew I could protect my son. I wasn't so sure I could protect yours." The instances Beverly describes when giving her reasons for not telling Picard take place after the events of Star Trek Nemesis. There seems to be a more concern for movie Picard rather than TNG Picard, with some exceptions. I still tend to think of Picard in the mode of the Measure of the Man or the Drumhead, rather than the Die Hard Picard and First Contact. The show's writing is impressive in how it addresses the 20 years of unknown hurt that Picard has now experienced. While I lean towards Jean-Luc's side, it is understandable why Beverly would hide Jack away from Picard for so long. The debate is not at the level of the Tuvix discussion or the Romulans being brought into the war with Sisko. This is very much a personal discussion, but it is a debate worth having. I can imagine this will come up from time to time in the Star Trek fandom in talks and debates over the next few years, and it is an interesting debate to have, and circumstances can be altered to actually delve into this in a lot more detail. Patrick Stewart's performance is the best of the season so far. We can understand Beverly's motivations, even if I don't agree with them. The show continues to explore the complexity of its characters and their relationships, which adds to its overall appeal. The scene in the turbolift, where Picard has 17 seconds of vulnerability, mirrors Riker's earlier moment of vulnerability at the start of the episode. On the bridge, Picard and Riker have a discussion where Picard advocates for a more aggressive course of action, while Riker is protective and cautious. This integration of emotion and action is notable, but there's also, as remarked upon by Data in a TNG episode, who observed that none of those characters have ever been seen to argue on the bridge, and that's something that Data said to Worf as they were captain and first officer at the time. Remove yourself from the bridge.